Hi, this is guitarist Denis Taaffe, and I'm in my home studio, and I want to welcome you to Bargain Bin Gear. And this episode is actually how to record an entire album on your couch, part 2. Now in part 1, I discovered this little Boss portable recorder, and you'll notice that it's got 2 little condenser microphones in stereo, and it has a live recording mode. So you just hit play and record, and it starts to record. And I would have never guessed that the sound quality is really good enough. It really is album quality sound. It's unbelievable, really. Now, I had basically created an album just, in between watching a movie. I would just pause the TV and start to record. And I would use these little living room amps. This is in particular is a little Orange Crush, 20 LDX. So it's got a little, it's a 20 watt, I think, 8-inch speaker. Right, so it's a really small amp, and I've got 2 of them in my living room. And so, usually when I'm watching TV around the couch, I'm just kind of playing guitar. Usually when I'm watching the news or something, or a movie or what have you, and during the slow parts, just pick up the guitar and I get ideas that way, or I work on, maybe learning a new chord or scale or arpeggio, what have you. And just by accident, I tried to record, because a lot of times I come up with ideas because I do a lot of looping, and so I come up with a lot of ideas that, are usually lost very quickly because I forget them, but instead with this little recorder, I'm able to capture that. And I thought, well, why not take it to the next level and, create an album that way. And I did just that. However, I continued to record, and, at the time I was just using the 2 little orange amps and a digitech recorder, and then I added a Line 6 M5, a little effects, multi-effects pedal, and I've also tried the Eventide H9 pedal, and this is all just in my living room. And I spent a lot of time trying out new gear recently, and trying out different amps and things. So I hadn't really spent a lot of time in my studio room recording, However, I was stunned to find that, as I continued to do these little BR recordings, that I ended up with it took about a week, just doing a few recordings a day. When I was watching the news or a movie or that kind of thing, or perusing YouTube or what have you. In any case, so I came up with another album. I'd like to share the results with you. You can hear a little bit of it. Very, very pleased with it. And so And this one, is a couch recordings too, I guess. And I will release this as a full album. And I'm already up to 351 albums, so I know I already have to release volume 352, which is done, 353, which is the first couch recording, and I guess this will be volume 354, which will be another couch recording. And I burned a CD of it, and then took it to my vehicle and drove around and just listening to it, and it really came out really well. I was very, very pleased. And mind you, this is just in my living room, and the looper, because I'm laying on my couch, just, picking up the guitar and playing it, and controlling for example, the looper pedal, instead of with my feet, just my hand just hitting a button, to start a loop and that kind of thing. And so this time around, I think it's, while the first couch album from the last time, the last video I made, was, quite simple, I suppose. This one uses a few more effects and those kinds of things. To make an analogy, I would think very similar to, let's say, if these were alien horror films, then this would be the first couch album would be the movie Alien, and the second album, this album, would be Aliens, plural, right? Aliens. So it had better effects and those kinds of things. I don't know if that made any sense at all, but anyway. So this really does work. It's unbelievable. I don't have any microphones in front of the amps at all. And I thought, oh, well, since I'm doing a recording of it, I should turn it up. But I didn't even have to do that. In fact, if I turned it up too much, I would kind of overdrive the unit. That's how sensitive these microphones are. And in fact, last week I was a little disappointed in myself because I thought, well, you didn't do any recordings in your studio room. You were too busy with different gear and that kind of thing, testing out gear and those kinds of things. So, but then I was just so thrilled when I decided to download all the recordings I had made, since that first album off the Boss BR, and was very pleased with the results. And what I can tell you is these couch albums, you really get this sense they're very laid back, very relaxed or relaxing, and very laid back. The Boss BR, what is it? Micro BR80 multi-track recorder. We are using the live recording mode, which is just 2-channel left and right. As basic as can be. Okay, so let's go through a couple of the tracks so you can get a sense of how this is developing. And I'm really, really pleased. Now, I will say, one of the big differences between my studio recordings, right? And these little micro BR recordings is that the micro BR recordings are usually much shorter tracks. So you end up with a few more tracks than you would on an album because they're not as long. You know, not that they could be, but the other thing is, I think in my studio room recordings, you know, where I'm using my main setup, my main pedal board and things, I layer a lot more loops, you know, so those are two big differences I noticed. One other thing that I noticed here is that the recordings themselves, you know, you have to remember that a lot of times when I'm on my couch, I'll just record create a loop and just let it play, and it's kind of like ambience for the room, you know. Alright, so this first track is 4 minutes and 21 seconds, so that's pretty good duration here. And here you go, this is it. I had recently sold my bass 9 pedal in favor of the Line 6 M5 for my uses, so you can hear it here. This is track 2. Oops. Synthesizer type sounds. That's all from the Line 6 M5, which has some pretty basic synthesizer monophonic type tracks. Yeah, you can hear it there. Guitar part over that. So here's track 3. So really, this album I used the Line 6 M5 pedal quite a bit. You know, and just getting different sounds, you know, from guitar synthesizer sound, bass emulation on guitar, and other sounds as well. And this is in contrast to the first Couch album, which didn't have the, you know, it was just basically guitar amp, looper, and the little BR recorder. So here I've added the M5 just to see, you know, if it would pick up kind of the different sounds and things. Okay, let's move on to track 4. You can hear it a little bit. And there you can hear the guitar synthesizer sounds from the M5, which are pretty primitive. Track 5. And these are all just musical ideas I come up with, just playing around really. So that's pretty basic, and again, it does pick up a little bit of my breathing, or if I'm moving around, on the guitar, so I have to be a little careful of that. But it really doesn't translate to home stereo speakers, but you can pick it up in the studio speakers a little more. Alright, let's move on to track 8. And here's the famous Line 6 M5 filters, right? It does a lot of good filtering type sounds, kind of flangers, phasers, and things like that, including this sound, which I use just as a loop, right here. Yeah, that's definitely the Line 6 M5 pedal. Track 9. Trying out different scales or chords and that things that I usually don't use. They've got 2 layers, just one guitar and the other is doing swell notes, where you hit a note with the volume down so that you don't pick up the pick noise, and then you turn the volume up. Gives you this kind of almost keyboardy type sound. Okay. Track 11. So there's trying out a different scale, chord progression, if you like. Okay. And here's track 12. has a pretty nice sound. Okay, here's track 13. And there I'm using that bass emulation from the M5 pedal. So, on this track, you hear the M5 pedal quite a bit. There are just a couple layers of guitar and then the bass emulation. And let's go to track 14. Exotic chords for me anyway, and their associated arpeggios and things. And then track 15, and that's the last track on the album. Yeah, this is a harmonic minor scale. On that one you could really hear me breathing because I was very close to the mic there. In any case, there you go. There's, I guess, the Couch album volume 2, you know. But I think I'm going to just put it with my Modern Rock Guitar volume album. So this will be 354, I think, or 5, whatever. I don't remember what it was exactly. So I got to create an album cover for it and release it. And it's definitely different than my studio albums. You know, when I'm recording in the studio with my proper pedal board and all that stuff. But it really is a different kind of album. With a lot of ideas, you know, of just different things I'm trying, you know, because I'm always constantly coming up with musical ideas, you know, that I would usually forget and things. So this is definitely a nice way to keep those ideas. So anyway, I'm very, very pleased, you know, with the way these Couch recordings are turning out. And so I've been seeing, you know, what an effects pedal, you know, would do sound-wise and things. So this particular album, I guess, is the M5, and the next one will be the Eventide H9. A little better sound quality and those kinds of things. So very pleased to think that this was done just in my living room, you know, while I was watching TV or what have you. You know, pretty neat concept, I guess. album-wise, and it really does work. I mean, I was quite surprised. In fact, I can honestly say when I was recording these, I thought, well, I'll keep the ideas, but probably not, sound quality-wise good enough to make an album out of it. But I was really wrong about that. It actually turned out very, very well. So hopefully I plan to do some more of these, But yeah, as far as this particular album, it's almost completed. I have to create an album cover and that kind of thing for it and actually release it, So yeah, I wanted to share that with you. There are some of the things I've been doing, besides trying out different amps and so on. And overall, I'd say it doesn't replace, studio recordings, but it's kind of a different tangent, and it works out very, very well, compared to the studio recordings, which are a little more involved in that kind of thing. Using my larger amps and pedal board and those kinds of things. Okay, see you next time. Bye.